East Clare Life is sponsored by James and David Corbett, Agricultural Contractors, Scariff. Hi, this is Marie McNamara for Scariff Bay Community Radio. I was delighted to be asked down by Whitegate Community Council to a presentation that they were having in the GAA Hall last Monday night in Whitegate to celebrate the retirement of Mary McDermott, who had been Post Mistress in Whitegate for many years. So hope you enjoyed this programme, a few snippets of what went on. Apologies if some of the interviews, the sound isn't great, but there was so many people in the hall, it was hard to get it right. Thank you. Enjoy. This programme is dedicated to the memory of Maura Brogan, who died shortly after this programme was recorded.
Now, while you're having your tea and biscuits, and that there's another little event that we want to mark this evening as well. And maybe that's the main reason why there's so many in the hall right now. As we know, recently, the Whitegate Post Office, as they traded, ceased to trade like that. And tonight, we want to mark that occasion. And anybody that we've spoken to in the past number of weeks would say, it was wonderful and it's a pity it had to go. It was wonderful, and we know the wonderful service that they have given the McDermott family, and before that even. Wonderful, and we'll hear about that a little bit later. And we know that there was a team involved in the post office in recent times. So we're going to kind of recognise some of the members of the team before maybe we recognise the captain. So while you're having your cup of tea, we're going to do that. And there are going to be a few different people from the community present to the team. And there has to be no bad language from Miss McDermott or from back below. Because they are the first two people that we're going to talk about. Because when it comes to community stalwarts, Pat Minogue has been a community activist for a long, long time. So now we're going to ask Pat to make a presentation to Liz. And thanking her for her wonderful work on the exchange, which was there in all the times that we've done it, at all hours of the day and night. Long distance, cross Canada.
Reluctant, okay.
So Pat will come forward and go with it.
Hi, Patty.
Now Liz, don't give out him now.
I see a few people with cameras and things, so maybe not a little bit now, and Liz, you're going to grab that there and type it out of your waist.
And all of you will know that another member of that team who is featured prominently is Carmen Keenan. And now I call on Carmen. And Carmen will be presented with her bouquet by Teresa Hines, who has been a community activist as well and was on the community council ever before there was a name on it. So, well done, Teresa. Now we could go home because we've had our tea and you've made your contribution. But we won't go yet. I now call on Pat to say a few words maybe about the post office and things that have gone on. And when it comes to history a little bit later on, the woman will be telling us a lot about the history of the post office in Whitegate. Will be Maura Brogan, and she'll be featuring a little bit later on. So I'll hand you over to Pat.
Thanks, Jacko, and I think that's a good idea actually, because you don't want to listen to me all night. And there was a sad funeral in Scariff last week where people gathered in the community hall in Scariff, and anybody who wanted to say a few words said a few words, and it was very nice over in Scariff. So maybe we'll do the same thing here in a few minutes. Jacko mentioned at the start about the Alzheimer's and all the whether, as he said, Raheen or St. Dimna's or all the charitable organisations that we contribute here, and Mary Margaret Fahey and the Coffee Mornings and all the different associations that we punch above our weight. And that reminds me of I suppose, in my other role as a county councillor, always referring to Whitegate as punching above our weight. When I visit or at meetings in other communities and that, I was always so proud that in Whitegate we have our 2 shops and our post office and our pub and our restaurant. We had 5 pubs one time and we had 3 shops as well as the post office. So we're slipping a small bit, but we're still punching above our weight, and we always did. And everybody reaches retirement age. Unfortunately, I suppose some people don't, but thank God Mary is in the full of her health. And when you reach retirement age, you're entitled to retire. And we all know the policy of on post. We had it in Broadford 12 to 18 months ago. Major outcry, postmaster retired for different reasons. No renewal of the post office in Broadford. And I had a few sleepless nights wondering what age Mary McDermott was, or when might we get the dreaded news, not that Mary was retiring, but that we might lose our post office. Unfortunately, that day came a couple of months ago, and despite the efforts of myself and the 2 most, I suppose, local politicians, I have to mention them, Joe Carey and Timmy Dooley, who, we spoke together that night, the 3 of us, and we talked about Broadford and we talked about the uphill battles and that. So I suppose the post-pine services, Mary, was at just so happened the very week the Taoiseach, Micheál Martin, was down in Ennis and was taking issues and taking questions and that, and Whitegate Post Office came into the conversation and our post-pine services were secured. I just want to make that point by your Oireachtas representatives. So tough day, tough time, hard being a public representative, I can tell you, when things like this happen and people ring you and genuine people lift their phone to know, God, can anything be done? And you're there telling them, sure, look at it, we're dealing with a semi-state body that have a policy to close, is it 700 or 900 post offices throughout the country. Once the Post Mistress retires, they're not renewing the contract. So that was tough. We're here tonight to celebrate what we had, I suppose, and to wish Mary the very best going forward. A great community. We're fortunate now, even though our post office is gone, to have 2 shops in the village. A lot of villages have no shop, and people should always bear that in mind. And I know the trolleys get full in Aldi and places at times, but always try and leave something for the local shop, and because it's so important. If there's one message, I suppose, because I know from other villages, and the villages I'm talking about, they're not too far away from here, where you can't get a pint of milk or a local newspaper. Some villages, then, communities have come together. You might have heard last year where a village lost its last pub, and the community came together and kept the pub open. So that's another day's work, because we all know how important a pub can be in a rural community. So, and shops over in Lura and North Tipperary, you remember when their shop closed, the community came together and provided the pint of milk and the newspaper at a minimum. So we were very fortunate to have our 2 shops, and we must always remember that. So I think, going back to what Jacko said, I think in a few minutes, anybody, who would like to say a few words should say it, and don't be shy. And enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll hand back to Jacko now. Okay?
Thank you, Pat. And now I suppose we come to the main presentation of the evening, and that's to Mary herself. And I know everybody in this hall now would just like to say 2 things to her. They'd like to say thanks very much and the best of luck and good health in the future. That's the message. So and so many people here and near and far have made contributions to this evening. And now some people are going to come forward and make those presentations on all our behalf. And the first person to present is Maura Brogan, a senior citizen from the parish who's wonderful on local history and things like that. So she now is going to present a lamp to Mary. we hope it is a very significant one, because it kind of represents a family tree, a family play tree, and that's the McDermott family. We can see Tom and Margaret and Deirdre and Liz, and they're all jigging around at it. So, Pat, we'll hand that over.
And make sure you come up and have a look at it after, because it's a unique piece. So, Maura, if you can come. And it's engraved as well. The camera's over there now.
Maura is going to say a few words now, and then she's going to say a few words in a little while.
Now, well, Mary, we're paying farewell to you as Post Mistress. We are deeply indebted to you for your dedication to duty, courtesy, and above all, privacy. I remember going into Mrs. Morgan's post office, your grandaunt, in 1954, 68 years ago.
Well done, Maura.
She welcomed me to Whitegate at that time. Your dad and Mam took over after that, and you followed at a young age and did us proud ever since.
Here we are.
I would like to pay tribute to Liz, who was wonderful. I remember long ago when the girls were doing their nurse training in Romford in England. I'd ring on a Saturday night and she would have the number ready for me. So thanks, Liz, for your contribution. So, Mary, enjoy your well-deserved retirement, and the best of luck and health to you, Colm and Anna.
Well done, Maura. Now, another member of the community will make a further presentation to Mary. And it is only right and proper that it is a loyal customer of the post office, and also somebody with a great gardening interest. So now I'm going to call on Tony Perrell to present a rose to Mary. And for those horticulturalists among you, the name of the rose is very significant because it's called a new dawn. So Mary, a new dawn. So the decision was made anyway not to give flowers to Mary. Colm will do the flowers and Tony Perrell will do the rose. And we have one more little thing to give. And we have, as I said at the start, we have all these young camogie players and hurlers down here, and then we have ex-former hurlers and camogie players all over the room. And now we're going to the youngest person, maybe in the room, to make the final presentation to Mary. And we went to the records in Lackisle National School. The youngest person in the school, and her family, her parents, and her grandparents who are here in the hall, they have been loyal servants of the post office as well. So now I'm going to go to Rosa Fahy, and she's going to come and she's going to give this big envelope to Mary, and she's a star. The girl. In Ireland. And it's only maybe right if we finish with the youngest, because all these people here, when they have money going to camogie matches or training, they have to go to Mary's on the way or on the way home, and they pop in and they do their shopping there as well. Now I'm going to ask Mary just to say a few words, and then we can relax and have another cup of coffee.
Right, I have to say, dear, to be 100% right. They called Mike and
Yes,
Mary.
yes.
And I'm sorry, I'm very emotional. That's I never expected that, and you shouldn't have. But thank you. It's so kind. It's so nice of you all to do it. But I always had it in my mind that Mum and Dad, Dad died when he was 50. And Mum then, I think she was much older or whatever, but I said, I'm not going to die with my boots on. So I always wanted to retire. And I said, when I was 66, I'm definitely retiring, because you could go for another year or you could go for another 2 years. But the fact that my husband is still with me and my daughter
Oh, straight he is.
is
Come on,
still,
Paul.
my daughter is still talking to me. It's really But I have to thank Elizabeth and Carmel, because I would have gone insane without both of their help. They have been outstanding to me now. They have been, I couldn't ask for a better team. But to actually live in Whitegate has been such a blessing for all of the McDermott, Tracy, Collins. I was even thinking of Joe Collins there now, because when he was home and he just had to pick up the phone, and Elizabeth knew Wimmering Mansions over in London, she had the phone number straight off and everything. With all the families in Whitegate, everybody is just, anybody that ever comes to Whitegate, they just can't get over how friendly everybody is, how there's no bickering, there's no nothing, there's no underhand comments or anything like that. It's all, whatever you see, that's what you get. And it's always been like that. And to have such leaders over the years in Whitegate, and the Camogie and the GAA, really, only for the Camogie and GAA, it would be a different place. We've been so lucky. But what I'm going to say most of all is the mass cards, the prayers, the flowers, all the different congratulations, everything that I got. I just couldn't possibly write to everybody and say thank you. So I hope that anybody is here, I'm saying a massive thank you from my heart, and say to anybody that's there that would be saying, oh, wouldn't you think that she'd acknowledge what I sent? But it's been unreal. It's been unreal. Thank you so much to everybody. I'm totally touched. Absolutely touched.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, a lot of people contributed, and I mean from near and far. And I have to acknowledge now the great work that Tony O'Rourke did. He was a kind of an undercover agent, delivering and collecting. So he's in the hall somewhere, Tony is. Yeah, and he did super work. So well done, Tony. So now, if I say the microphone is open to the House, and it literally is, because Scariff Bay Community Radio are recording as we speak. But now I'll ask anybody in the hall who wants to say, we can all say much the same. Thanks, Mary, you did great. Best of luck, Colin and Anna and Liz. But now I'm going to ask anybody who wishes to speak. Okay, you seem to be ready.
Oh, me? Well, I go back a good while too with Mary and her parents. When I first came to Whitegate, of course I knew very few people. But I think Sean McDermott was one of the first persons I did get to know. And we often had arguments, and and then Mary, I remember when her dad died, and she was taken, I think you were taken out to school, Mary, to finish school?
Yes,
but it won't have school to run. And ever since then, herself and her mother, there were something about going into McDermott's that, you mightn't buy anything and you mightn't want anything, but you'd have the chat and whether the weather was going to be wet or dry the next day or something like that. Mary's mother was always concerned about the weather anyway. But then when they moved down to their present residence, I don't know, the top of the hill wasn't the same somehow. We missed you from the top of the hill, even though we went down to, But however, anyway, there was a great friendship always between my husband Billy and Clary and Sean and of course Nishi and the McDermotts. There was always a great friendship there. So Mary, we did regard you at a very, very high pedestal, and Liz, of course, as well. Liz often was on the phone, as you say. I can tell you a very funny story about Liz. I think she'd be very embarrassed about it.
Tell it anyway.
Will I tell it, John? We were at Silage at home this time anyhow. And Billy Burkle, and Billy the Blonde, as we call him, my own Billy came in and he said, Japers, he said, there's a breakdown in something, the Blonde is breakdown in machinery. He said, I don't know what to do. However, the dinner was nearly ready, so she'll let him have the dinner and maybe Billy will get on to someone to do something about it. So Billy came in, Billy Bland, and he wanted to ring Boyd's in Limerick about a part of machinery. So I said, go on in there. I said, the phone is in there in the hall. And do you know the number? I looked up the number for him anyway. So I wound the handle, you know the old phone with the handle or anything. I rang up the number and Liz was on. And I says, Liz, Billy Burke here wants to make a call to Limerick. I have the number for you. So I left the phone in Bland's hand then. And I came back out to the kitchen. And the next thing the Bland... Do you mind calling him the Bland, Philip? The next thing the Bland came out anyway, and she said, well, Japers, that Elizabeth in there. I was trying to get through to Boyd, and the next thing I heard, oh, a great goal.
This was watching soccer.
Elizabeth was looking at the soccer match on the goal. You put them through eventually, Elizabeth. You didn't listen to that.
Well done. Thanks, Peg.
Yeah.
Move around, Christine.
I've two things to say. I don't know whether Mary remembers it or not, but my father was 35 years dead yesterday, God rest his soul. And we had mobile phones at the time. And the call came into the post office. And you came over to me. And your mum was in the kitchen and she made me a hot whiskey, but I couldn't drink it, I was in shock, you know. And you went with me all the way up to the bog because my husband and Tommy Kinnear were up there cutting turkey. And I'll never forget you for that. No. Thanks, Mary. And then Liz, every Saturday I'd be ringing my mother after my dad died. And Liz had to learn off 14 digits, and she got it. And she just put me through. And sometimes she'd have a little curse now, because they wouldn't put her through straight away. But I appreciated that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, as you mentioned, Sean, there, I remember in the 50s, my mother, God rest her, she was cycling down to Kilcooney and she called into the post office. And Sean said to her, oh God, will you ever do something for me? Would you ever call into McMadden and tell him they're twins? And she said, how in the name of God will I face him? So she did anyway. And Meek was shaven, he was preparing to go in to see her. Oh, that's great, she said. She always wanted twins. So she got them.
Don't be mad for this right, Mara.
So that's it. Oh, God.
Good.
Twins.
John, can I just
Yes,
say,
ma'am.
it's very important with mobile phones and the way it's all advanced. We had 4 lines to Limerick and 2 lines to Scariff for 300 and something subscribers. So it was kind of whatever talk about after the news at 9:30 or that, everybody say, oh, I might bring my sister in Dublin. So all of a sudden you had everybody trying to get through on the 4 lines. And
Before 10 o'clock.
before 10 o'clock, yeah.
Before 10.
Yeah,
So it's full.
and 10 o'clock we were on again and 8 in the morning.
Maybe it was a better way than electronic than emails and all the rest of it. Yeah? Take more stories now. This is the chance.
I Just want to wish Mary the very, very best, herself and Colm and Anna. And I've known Mary for years. We're just great friends all down the years. And wish her the very best.
And only before you thank you, Florence, and I started first because I just had to.
Of course you had.
Oh no, I had a few. Thank you so much, Florence.
All the very best, Mary.
Thank you.
Well done. Thanks, Florence. Yeah, we can move around now with the mic, so don't be thinking you're too far away. There's nobody too far away.
I'd like to reiterate there what Maura said there earlier on about Mary's privacy and discretion. Nobody ever knew your business.
Well said, Margaret. Yeah. I think everybody would echo what you're saying. Yeah. It was efficient, it was confidential, that was it. No need to say it anymore. Now we go around the parishes, maybe to Mount Shannon and Old Hogan. I was moved prominently so that he'd be picked up loud and clear.
So all I can do is echo what everybody else has said. Anybody who ever moved to the parish or from the parish and couldn't but know Mary and Liz in the post office in Carmel, and the service was always with a smile, second to none, and the degree of, as everybody has said, confidentiality and everything like that. I suppose if there was a possibility of having lady priests, Mary would have made a great priest. You would go up her with your confession. No one keeps coming up straight away. So again, just to wish Mary and Colm and Liz the very best in their retirements, and thank them for the wonderful service that they gave us down through the decades.
Thank you, Noel. We had his granddaughter earlier on when we had Rocha, and now Tom would like to say a few words. He's a loyal parishioner and a neighbour of Mary's.
I would just like to wish Mary, Elizabeth, Colm, Anna all the best in their future. I often remarked at home to Mary Margaret, I don't know how Mary McDermott goes up this road every morning after 7 o'clock. She's not going up for 5 days a week, but it's 7 days a week. Countless times I said that to Mary Margaret. I don't know how she keeps doing it. We might be drifting away here or there, but Mary's car was always outside that shop and that post office. She has given wonderful service, and I'm delighted to be associated with everybody here tonight in wishing her, Colm, Anna, Liz and Carmel all the best in the future.
We have lots of older residents and we have newer residents, and Caroline would like to say it on behalf of the newer people who have moved to Whitegate.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to echo what the last gentleman said. I mean, I've been coming to Whitegate for over 30 years, and Mary has always been a friendly face, always remembered my name and asked about family. But I've been astounded at how hard she works. You know, for youngsters, she is a role model that you need to follow. She really is. On the odd occasion, when I've been up very early in the morning with the dog, Mary's on her way to work. And then if I go out in the evening, Mary's still at the post office. The floor is always clean. If it's a wet day, you never see foot marks on the floor. It's always spotlessly clean. She cleans the front of the shop. It's astounding. Really, you are an example to us all. And enjoy your retirement. You've certainly earned it.
Now, before we call it off, anybody else like to say a few words? Yeah, Kate, from the centre of the village.
You want to play it?
I know people would say we'll only be echoing what others have said, but if people would like to do it, now would be that time.
And I would like to do the same thing then.
Well done.
And well done to Mary. Enjoy your time with Mary.
That's it. Well done, Keith. Say more. Pat?
Yeah,
Can
I suppose wearing a lot of hats as secretary of the community council here in Whitegate. We do things well. We as a community, not me at all. Now, some you'll say I do feck all. That's another story. But we as a community do things well, and we keep it simple. No great fuss. Things are done behind the scenes. I'm looking at a girl sitting by the door, Clare Tracy, who no doubt had a big input into this evening. So Clare is an outstanding girl too, and in time to come, she'll be honoured. I mean, Mary herself spoke about all the wonderful people and the community, and not too much bickering. There might be a small bit, but not too much from time. But loads of people who help out, and I know Clare doesn't sit on the community council with us, but I've seen her sitting there tonight, and I think it's only fair that she gets a mention. She does tremendous work. Just to say, again, how we do things kind of simple here. But we like to think we do them right, no more than we did here this evening. And I hope you all can see that, and that everybody had an enjoyable evening. And no matter what the event is, be it a tragedy, a tragic event, or a celebration, we keep it simple, but we do it well, because no more than Jacko himself, indeed, the pride in your own place. Fierce important. I have to represent a lot of places, but I always end up coming home and back to Whitegate, and you can't beat it. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks very much.
It'll be photograph time now, Mary. The children down here first, and they have to go home and keep the showers and things like that. And people stay around, have a look at the lamp, look at the rose, and thanks very much for coming.
Now I'm joined by Tony Rourke, postman in the Whitegate area, covering Mount Chen as well, and Florence Bugler, ex-Post Mistress of Scariff. Both very welcome. I suppose it was a great all night for the post office crew tonight, wasn't it?
Oh, a lovely night. We're delighted to be part of it.
Absolutely.
Did it bring back memories, Florence?
Oh, it did indeed.
You retired yourself for about 3 years.
3 years now, yeah.
We had a great chat with you the day you retired as well. I remember it well inside in the post office as well.
Yeah.
You're glad you retired when you did, I'd say.
I am now.
You're enjoying
it? I did. Yeah. I'm enjoying retirement and
I think
different way of life. And
a few words of advice there from Mary too as well.
Well, to enjoy herself and hope she gets her health and herself and her family and enjoy themselves.
Great. And Tony, what about you? You've worked with both of the women.
Yes.
You've always had women bosses, have you?
and they were very good. Both of them. They give you great advice.
Good.
Yeah.
And I heard was it Pat Burke or Jack who said there you were like an undercover agent there for the last while, were you?
I got the job giving out the literature and stuff.
Yes, so. Yeah. But I'd say people are very welcoming.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. They were delighted, exactly.
Yeah, because people like to make a difference, don't they?
They did.
And to show people how much they appreciate them.
They did, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think Mary will enjoy retirement, both of you?
I think she will.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think she will.
Yeah.
Time comes when you have enough, and
yes,
and it's time to go. When you're young enough to enjoy it and your health is good and everything.
Yes, that's the main thing.
That is the main thing.
You thinking about it yourself, Tony?
No, I have another bit to go.
For years.
We'll be back again for Tony's retirement.
Yes, indeed. Please God.
Tony Rourke, postman, and Florence Bugler. Thanks very much. And now this is Colin Burke, now Mary's husband, has just done a runner on me, so he's not going to talk. I'm joined now by Councillor Pat Burke. Pat, a great night for the parish.
Great night, Marie. Yeah, gosh, I couldn't get over when I came up the amount of cars in the car park. And it's a testament to Mary in the shop, obviously, because everybody knew Mary, everybody dealt with her, young and old, and people just wanted to come here tonight to celebrate that, I suppose.
And Colin, had you any hand after part? How did you keep it a secret from her all week?
I said out of our way.
This is Colin Burke, of course, Mary's long-suffering husband. So Colin, she'd no idea how it was tonight?
Not a clue. I had to tell her when she came in.
Oh, did you tell her?
I just said it to her. Yeah, when she was sitting down and when she couldn't escape.
And did she want to do a runner?
No.
Oh, good. She kind of said, I'm here now and there's nowhere I can go. But it's a great testament to her popularity, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, hopefully I'm going to grab her now for a chat. She's doing this a long time, isn't she? She left school straight from school into the post office.
That's it. And she was always there. Whether you're a prince or a pauper, you always got the same treatment.
Exactly.
I know, and Tom Fahey summed it up, didn't he? 7 days a week. It wasn't 5 days a week, it was 7. It was 7. The shop and the post office.
So it's not like the rest of us on a Friday evening at 5 o'clock, you kind of say, I'm off now until Monday morning. Yeah, it's very hard going.
Very hard going.
Yeah.
So Sunday, half a day Sunday. She was going over.
Yeah, very tied down.
Well, I said to her several times, it's worse than milking cows. You can get someone to milk a cow, you can get no one to do the post office.
Imagine.
It's just, it's an art in itself, isn't it? To be well trained.
Yes.
So she's keeping on the shop anyway, so at least she's telling me she's going to be off now Mondays and Tuesdays. So you can hit the high road now every Monday and Tuesday.
Is the garden finished yet?
It isn't finished yet.
Okay, lads, thanks very much. And now we're joined by Peg from Peg Tremaine, I suppose, Mem of Councillor Petmore. Peg, we're delighted to have you here on Scariff Bay Community Radio. Wasn't it a wonderful night here tonight?
It was lovely.
Great tribute to Mary, wasn't it?
Great, and so well supported.
Oh, very well.
The young and the old, and but she was very special. There's no doubt about it. She was so efficient and so willing to help, and
And as the lads were saying,
Sean, I always remember Sean, her father. Sean was a character. He could.
And you need a personality for the post office.
You do, really. You do. Oh, Mary started very young.
She did. We were just saying that. I was talking to her now in a minute. She came straight from school.
She did. Without doing her leaving cert, I think.
Yeah, right.
I don't believe she had done her leaving cert.
Never stood in her way, did it?
Pardon?
It never stood in her way.
No.
But she was fantastic for the community, and she has supported everything and stood behind everything.
Everything. And not a kind word to say about everybody. I don't think she'd criticise anyone, no matter what they did. Always very kind, and it's her
Of course, you were in Whitegate a long time now, Peg, aren't you?
Since 1964. 57, 58 years ago. Yeah, and as I said, the McDermotts were the first people that I got to know. Because apart from the post office, they were always familiar with Billy, like with the fishing, Naoise McDermott. And so actually, I forgot to say that was Evelyn McDermott introduced me to Billy Burke.
Oh, wait, to your husband, your late husband, Billy Burke? To your late husband, Billy Burke?
Billy Burke, my husband.
Okay,
it was Evelyn McDermott who introduced us. There was always a great friendship there somehow. Even with your ma'am now and that, we'd be down in Naoise's and the fishing would be on, and Seamus Farrell, of course, was there for the fishing, and they were great old times, really.
There's nothing like that now.
Nothing, oh my God, it is really.
You miss that, I'd say, Peg, do you?
Pardon?
You miss that?
I do. And as well as that, there's a lot of our friends dead and gone.
Of course.
Like Teresa McDermott, Teresa Solan, up along like that. So many gone, I don't know.
It's kind of lonesome too, isn't it?
It's lonesome, really.
But you're keeping active, are you?
Well, I'm not too active now because I have 2 bad knees, and but I was involved in everything, like with the ICA and Development Association, and
you did your bit over the years.
I did.
And you attend the day centre now in Raheen, Peg?
I'm gone back there now.
Yes, sure. It's great to have it open again, isn't it?
It's great to have it open, but I'm very disappointed that it's so poorly supported.
Is it?
It is.
I suppose some people are a bit nervous about moving out yet.
Well, I don't know. I think COVID did a lot of damage.
Yes.
COVID, people staying at home, going nowhere. And there's still a lot of people that still are going nowhere.
They've kind of got institutionalised, aren't they? People that are, a lot of people are even listening to Mass now on the radio or watching it.
That's the very thing.
They're not even
That's just, the mess is sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
My God, the mess here yesterday. The few people. Very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Okay, listen, Peg, we'll move on. It was great to talk to you. Thanks very much.
And thanks very much, Maria, yourself.
No, I'm delighted to be joined with the lady of the moment, Mary McDermott, Post Mistress in Whitegate Post Office. Mary, delighted to have you talk to us here on Scariff Bay Community Radio.
Thank you so much for coming down. This is a very special night.
It was just fantastic, Mary, and everyone we've spoken to said it was a real community night.
It was a lovely community night. It just shows you really being part of community is everything, and Whitegate are always
they were really so good at putting on any of those special occasions.
And there was so many tributes, Mary, as people said, from young and old. I mean, to have the youngsters there and their camogie gear ready for training and everything like that, up as far as, you know, the older people of the committee, Maura Brogan and a few more spoke as well. It was just such a lovely committee. The hall was packed, standing room only.
It was.
You must be very proud.
I am so proud.
Yeah.
I'm so proud, as you say, from the children. And I want to say a special thank you to the children and the teachers in the National School, to the camogie, to the hurling. It's just a whole total community. And in a way, it's just because I wanted to retire when I was 66. But to actually lose the post office was a huge pity for the whole village, because it is the centre of the community.
But Mary, you can't feel guilty about that.
No,
you can't, and you're dead right, because you're still keeping the shop. I mean, you've a bowling shop there, and you've got in the coffee machine. I've passed through Whitegate yesterday on Sunday, and there was loads of cyclists outside. They were having coffee, they were having ice creams. It's just fantastic, because there's loads of parking space. I mean, I see the last couple of weeks now you've had AB Floral Farm there. Is it on the Saturday? They have put up their little stand and they're selling flowers. Aileen and Eamon Brown from Monshant, Kilretira, and then you have Clean O'Donnell was there playing music.
Clina and Rose.
It was just lovely.
It was.
It's a real community area now, isn't it?
It is. It's good. And to have that huge space in front of the shop is vital, because when you go somewhere else and you see cars parked on the side of the road, you realise what a amenity it is.
Fantastic. And you used to have the post, or the phone box used to be there as well.
That's right. We have the post point now, and people are starting to get used to it, and it's a lovely facility for the place as well. So Mike at the top of the village and Bat and myself at the bottom, we'll continue to hopefully keep everybody happy.
You provide a great service between you all.
Hopefully,
and you all work very well together, don't
we
you?
We do. We always have.
Great.
We always have. Yes.
And even when Solon's shop was there was never any. No. You all blended in very well and worked together.
No. Solon's and Tracy's and McDermott's, we've always been, and all the pubs as well.
I spoke to Johnny Bryan there earlier, Mary, and I was asked. He told me when he moved back in '78 from Australia that it was such a learning curve that, having to go to the exchange and dial up a number and everything like that. And I was asking him about the post office next door. He never remembered, like most of us remember your dad, God be good to him, and your mum running the post office in Whitegate, between where the half barrel is now, where Johnny Bryan's house is, the top of the hill.
That's right.
And wasn't your father a very forward-thinking man? I remember my mum and dad said it years ago, to actually buy the site where you are established now and build a shop and a post office. I mean, that wasn't the done thing, really.
It wasn't. But Dad was in duty free in Shannon, and so there would have been 4 of us. So then when Elizabeth was born, he said, he'd have to stop going in and out to Shannon every day and every evening, because it was a big responsibility, and we had the shop as well. So at the top, and then so he decided to come down, build a house in '70. There was a flipping cement strike, there was a bank strike, there was one thing after another.
You thought things were bad this winter?
Oh yeah. There's always something in everybody's life. There is hardships.
What year was that, Mary?
That was in '70. So so he
and
died.
Was it a
in
huge
73.
undertaking, Mary?
It was. Yes.
You remember it well, obviously.
Oh yeah. Remember coming in and seeing the blocks down, and thinking what a small little shop this is going to be. When you see
of course
blocks
it's very
down.
hard to see the
Yeah.
And so Mary, he died suddenly then, very shortly after.
He died 3 years afterwards,
So that was an awful shock.
Oh, and there was huge shocks that year. Paddy Jordan died. And there was just one thing after the other with people. And they were all very young men.
Yeah, your dad was only 50.
50, exactly 50. Yeah, it was.
And Mary, of course, your mum, God be good to her, Lil, she was involved as well.
Yes, and she continued then, and she passed away then when she was 82. Yes,
And what year did you come back, Mary? What age were you? When you were in boarding school?
I was in boarding school. I had just done the intercert and came back then at that stage.
You came back, so you'd have been about 15, 16?
15 or 16, yeah.
And did you come back to work in the post office or run it at the time?
No, just came back to help Mum.
Yeah.
So the two of us then,
So when would you have taken over the full running of it?
So in 1988. Yeah, so I would be 34 years there.
Gosh, it's a lifetime, isn't it, Mary?
But
you loved every minute of it.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Like you were Joy, and everyone said it here, and we can all be testament that every time you always had a smile, whether you were retired or whether you were on a pension or whoever you were.
I don't know.
You were always had a smile. I don't know how you did it, because some of them, as Tom Fahey said there, you were passed up at 7 in the morning until late at night. You always had a smile on your face, and it's not easy at times.
But at the same time, I love getting up early.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I do.
But you're enjoying your retirement now, Mary, are you?
Absolutely gorgeous. We went up to Killaloo today, had some bite to eat, and just took our time.
Yeah. Isn't it lovely?
Yeah.
And you can really
Yeah.
enjoy it because, as you said, it's easier to take a day off from the shop
Oh yeah.
than it was in the post
Absolutely.
office, obviously, because
Oh, yeah,
there's so much
absolutely.
involved in that. You need training and everything for that.
But it isn't even that. It's just you feel responsible. Just if anything, you know,
Big
just to keep
responsibility.
everything going.
Yeah.
Look at
But you love
it
the
all
shop.
worked out. Yes, yeah.
And of course, as you say, Mary, you're still providing all the post point
Yes.
services. Do you want to tell us what
Yes,
some of those are?
so you can do the bill pay, you can pay your TV license, all your anything with a barcode on it,
Great.
and all the phone credits. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, and
so there's
stamps. I mean, people are buying
stamps.
You can buy
Yes,
stamps
yeah,
there.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I suppose most people, maybe at this stage, are getting their pensions or their social welfare, whatever, children's allowance paid into their banks anyway. A lot
Yes,
of people
yes,
are.
a lot of people have changed. Still, people loved the shop
course.
with the
It
post
was
office, and
tradition with a lot of
yes,
people,
it
wasn't
was, and really and truly, it's a young person's world at the moment.
is.
So it's very important
Yeah.
to include everybody
Of course.
from start to finish. You just, I feel even sometimes trying to get through to the bigger corporations, and that
Yeah.
you're press 1, press 2, and press 3. That's very hard to take.
For your phone or for your insurance, for anything
Yes,
like
for
that.
anything, yeah.
And a lot of those corporates seem to think everybody's online now.
Absolutely,
They're not.
absolutely,
You know.
yeah. And if you're lucky enough to have a daughter or a son or a grandchild, that will help you out. But if you're not, it must be very
very difficult.
very difficult. Yeah.
Well, listen, Mary, on behalf of us all at Scariff Bay Community Radio, we'd like to thank you so much. I was
Thank
thrilled
you.
to be asked down here tonight, and hopefully you'll enjoy your retirement. And
Thank
you so much for all the years.
Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you, Mary.
thank you so much to Scariff, because they're wonderful. Scariff Bay are fabulous. I
Great.
love them. Yeah.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Mary. Take care. East Clare Life is sponsored by James and David Corbett, Agricultural Contractors, Scariff.